Hi, it's Claude. I thought I would show you how I use some of the Pampered Chef stuff, and maybe you learn a little bit of cooking stuff, like, basic recipes and that at the same time. So today I'm going to make hot wings, but I'm going to make them in my air fryer over there. So we're not going to do them in the oven. We're going to do them in the air fryer. And this was a little bit of an experiment for me. I wanted to see if I could do this without getting wings that weren't like ridiculously messy. And I semi-succeeded. So follow along with me. So Pampered Chef has two different kinds of scissors for getting your chicken apart. And this chicken is semi-frozen. I got a pretty decent deal a couple of weeks ago at the supermarket. I said, all right, let me pick those up and throw them in the freezer. And so now I have to separate my wings. So they have the basic kitchen shears here. Now these are pretty good for general mayhem, okay? You want to like cut through stuff pretty quickly. It'll get right at it. And in order to do chicken wings, what you need to do if you want to make this easy on yourself, is you're going to cut right there through the joint, okay? And these things go boom, right through, okay? That's the wingtip. We don't care about that. You can save those, throw them into stock if you like. Always a good thing, all right? And again, like I said, this thing is pretty cold. It's still a little bit frozen. You can see the wing joint is not moving very well. Get an eye on where that joint is and go right through. Boom. All right. Now, Pampered Chef also has the professional shears. Okay, these are neat. These are spring loaded, and they have a little clip here that keeps them locked in the shut position, because if you let go, they pop right open because of the spring. These are good if you need a little bit of leverage, okay? And it's also, I find these good for some of the finer work, like if I'm cutting up herbs, or if I am trimming the ends off of flowers, or anything that requires a little bit more subtlety than these guys, right? But these will get the job done too, as it turns out. Especially if you have a smaller hand, that kind of thing. Once again, you get into the joint, make the cut, boom, goes right through. And let me do this side. So you see, it's a little bit tougher, but it still can be done. Now I'm taking these pieces and I'm putting them into one of your basic zipper bags, and I have like 4 more wings to do here, so I'm gonna do that. Oops, I'm gonna go back to the kitchen shears because I just get a little more oomph out of them there. Boom. Now, because these are semi-frozen, what I'm going to do is, I got a few hours yet before the big game tonight. Yes, this is the night that the Ravens are playing in the evening, which means their chances of winning are not as good. The Ravens are kind of allergic to prime time, but we'll see. I have hopes. And one more. But because I have a little bit of time, what I want to do is marinate these guys a little bit. Oh, missed the joint. Sorry. Now, here I am with my big bag of wings, and I got my wing tips, which I'm going to save for a different project. All right, so I can do one of two things here. All right, one of the things I like to do is get a bottle of basic, here we go, commercial grade buffalo wing sauce, and this is your store brand. All right, and pour that into the bag and let them continue to defrost. And this way, some of that stuff just kind of marinates in. That's a nice solution. The other solution is back to the fridge to get some buttermilk. Now my problem is that I forgot to buy buttermilk. What to do? What to do? You can always fake buttermilk though, okay? The idea behind marinating these things in anything is you want to get a little bit of acid in there. And what that will do is help to break down some of the proteins and make the chicken a little bit more tender, all right? So don't skip this step. Here's what you're gonna do. If you don't have the buttermilk, you take some regular milk. Get my measuring cup. Put about a cup of milk into there. You don't have to be precise. And then a little bit of lemon juice. And I use bottled lemon juice for stuff like this, where it's going to get mixed in with a bunch of other junk, and who really cares? Put in a couple of teaspoons, no more than a tablespoon, okay? And you'll see the milk will actually start to do some strange things, but that's okay. It's going to do that. I'll just pour that in with my wings, okay? It doesn't have to fill the bag up or anything like that, because you squeeze out most of the air. Sure. Alrighty. And you can see that the milk is already pretty much all over everything. All right, flip the bag a few times, that kind of bit, it'll get in there. All right, I'm going to do this for a few hours, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so the chicken has been marinating in the buttermilk or the wing sauce mixture or whatever you happen to use for a few hours now. And so you can see what I've done is I've taken it out of the bag and I've put it into the colander to drain off the excess liquid. So now, if you have chosen not to do either of these things, that's still okay, because I'm going to show you a thing you can do here. And you could do it with this anyway. But what I like to do is put a little bit of breading on my chicken, and that's what I'm going to do next. So let me get my fryer basket out of the way. I'm going to get a small bowl, and I actually like to use a commercial breading. I like this stuff, Lefty Spices. It's not too spicy or anything like that. They have a regular mix and they have a hot mix, and the hot mix is indeed pretty hot. All right, and what I'm going to do is put a small amount in a bowl, about somewhere between a quarter and a half a cup. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Like something on the order of about a cup of water. Because what I want to do is create for myself a little bit of a slurry here. You can't really put battered chicken in an air fryer because it just makes a heck of a mess. But you can do this. So, got my little Pampered Chef whisk going on, and I've wound that stuff up, and you can see it is pretty thin. There's like nothing going on there. It's practically water with a little bit of chicken powder mixed in. And I have a second bowl here into which I'm going to put some dry mix. Okay? And I have my fryer basket. I've got one of those Emerald Lagasse fryers, so it comes with the big wide basket. And I know some of you have the narrow ones. That's okay too. And what you want to do is you're going to spray this basket with your nonstick spray, or I've got my Pampered Chef sprayer thingy. So we got to pump up the air pressure, and I started this, so it's already got a little bit of pressure in it. I have two of these actually. I have one for the canola oil, and I have one for the olive oil. Because sometimes I like to use one, and sometimes I like to use the other. And so I'm going to take this, I'm holding it over the sink, and I'm going to give it a good spritz. And I'm going to do it on both sides. Now, frankly, it's not going to prevent sticking all together, okay? But it will reduce it a lot, and it will make it easier to clean later on. You can throw this right into the dishwasher later. All right, That's going on a paper towel over here because we don't want oil all over the counter, unless you do. Give this another little whisk because it does settle quickly, so you got to kind of keep it moving. All right, and we're going to take our chicken and put it into the liquid over here, and then into the dry mix. So what you've got is just a gentle coating of the mixture on there. And I see I missed a spot, so I'm going to dip it in again real quick, and I'm going to lay that into the pan. And this particular basket can hold about 12 to 14 pieces, and I've got more than that here, so I'm going to wind up having to do this in a couple of batches. So I'm going to go do my batches. See you in a minute. All right, as I said, I got about 14 pieces in here. So I dipped them in the liquid stuff, and then I dipped them in the dry stuff, gave it a nice thin coating. All right, and then I'm gonna hit it just one more time real quick with the spritz. Not a lot, just a little bit. All right, and this is going into my air fryer, which I have set at 375. And a couple of these pieces, I noticed as I was manipulating them, were still a little bit frozen. So I'm going to go for a good 20 minutes on this guy. This is preheated, so it's just going to start right up as soon as I hit the button. And about halfway through that, I am going to take them out, flip them over, put them back in. Because in this particular fryer, stuff tends to cook a little bit more crispy on the bottom than it does on the top. So I want that to happen on both sides. All right, so I'll see you in 20 minutes. All right, gang, so the timer is just beeped on my second batch of wings, and we're going to take those out now. I've got my Pampered Chef tongs, and okay, here's my one Pampered Chef complaint, okay? These tongs have a little gizmo in here, which is gravity fed. So what happens is when you hold it this way, the little gravity feed thing does this and holds it shut. And you flip it over and it drops, and then you can open it up and do whatever you want. My problem though is that I like to store them points down, which means they're kind of opening up, and that's a little bit irritating. Also, sometimes you're just kind of handling things and the thing will drop and you gotta flip it over to get it back into place. It's a minor quibble, but it's a quibble. Anyway, so here's our second batch of wings. Okay, you can see the first batch is here. And as I said earlier, out of an abundance of caution, because these wings were still semi-frozen, I actually went for about 25 minutes in the air fryer, and they're looking pretty good. There's one now that's looking good. There's a flat, also looking good. You see a couple of dry spots where the where the breading didn't really absorb in. But other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape here. And now here's our second batch. All right. And these also went for about 25 minutes. These actually toasted up a little bit more. There wasn't too much sticking, which is nice. Okay, I think they toasted up more because the thing had already been running for a half hour, so it just kind of continued the existing heat. And you notice a few of these look a little bit different, and let me talk about that for a second. Put these guys down. So I had said earlier that I was using the Lefty's Spices fish and chicken mix for the breading, okay? And this is like, I don't know, maybe about $3 for this big honkin' bag, and it lasts. It says here it does up to about 4 pounds of fish or chicken. That might be right. I might even use a little bit more. They have the regular, and then the other thing about this, you won't go through a lot of it, but it has a little zip top, so cool, it can seal itself. Then they have over here the spicy formula. Now, my daughter and I tried this, and they are in fact pretty spicy, and you can see it's even like a brighter red than the other stuff. The weird thing is this bag did not have a zip top in it, so you kind of have to fold it down. And let me give you a little tip. You want to save a ton of money? Don't go buying special clips. Go to like your Office Depot or your whatever, Staples. Get some binder clips. Nice and cheap. Get the job done. Anyway, so I did 4 of these wings with the spicy stuff, and I did everybody else with the regular stuff just to see what would happen. All right. Now the lefty stuff is actually pretty tasty on its own. Ow, this thing's still a little bit hot. Put those in here, and those in here, and that, and that. I'm going to leave those guys aside for a minute. And up here. Okay, those are the spicy ones. So you could leave them as they are, which would be nice. Okay, they're pretty tasty on their own. But the point of this is, it's game day, right? So we want hot wings, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to show you how to sauce these guys. Let me get a bigger bowl, because that's just a little too small. Let me use this puppy here. Okay, big one. All right. And what we're going to do is we are going to take a half a cup of butter. Okay. We're going to take a similar amount of Frank's Red Hot sauce and a couple of spices, and I'll show you that in a second. First, we got to melt our butter. Now, most people will take their butter and they'll put it in either a measuring cup or maybe one of these custard cup type things, which is nice, but I find you put it in the microwave and you want to melt the butter, and what's going to happen? The butter starts to melt and it's not quite done, and then all of a sudden the water in it starts to boil and you get poof, 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 and what you wind up with is a lot of butter all over the inside of your microwave and nowhere else. This is where the Pampered Chef people do us a little bit of good. They've got these prep cups, which also hold about 8 ounces, but they come with lids, which is nice because you can do advanced prep and then put stuff away into the fridge, or you can cover up your butter while you're melting it. And I have found that it doesn't even pop when it's in there. Maybe because it's heating up a little bit faster because of the lid. I don't know. So I'm going to go over here out of camera for a second. Put this in ye old microwave. It's just got the lid on very loose. And I'm going to push that 30-second button because that's fun. And the butter's already pretty soft, so it should melt within that 30 seconds. If it doesn't, I'll give it another few, but no biggies. Alrighty, so let's talk to these people about the hinge, okay? The scissors I cleaned. These are actually dishwasher safe. I hand washed them just because I didn't have enough stuff in the dishwasher. And you can see I'm just biding my time till the 30 seconds is up, and it's about done. 2, 1, 0. All right, let's see what we've got here. There we go. It is pretty thoroughly melted. Very good. So I'm going to pour that into our bowl over here. Now there's a small lump of butter, but that's disappearing rapidly. Okay. And Frank's Red Hot. It's the best stuff if you're going to make your own wings. Okay. Just take the top off altogether. That's a half a cup of butter. Put roughly a half a cup of the Frank's in there. Throw that in. And in this happy little Pampered Chef gizmo, I have about a half a teaspoon of garlic powder and about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And in you guys go. Unfortunately, some of my garlic powder is sticking a little bit because it didn't mix very well. There we go. All right, terrific. Get our pampered whisk out again. Give that a good stir. You can see, nice hot wing color. All right, and just toss them in there. If you're fussy, use the tongs. La la la, la la la, la la, la. Not too much chickeny residue in there, so I'm just going to use this bowl again for the serving. Tongs are really good for tossing and mixing stuff, by the way. If you want to like blend pasta into sauce, you throw in the sauce, you start tossing the pasta around. It just does a nice job. I'm using tongs more and more as I get older. I don't know why, but that's what's happening. Is that a function of aging? Beats me. All right. And the other thing that the breading does is it allows the sauce to stick a little bit better, which is nice. So there we go. We've got our finished wings. All right. It's still a little bit drippy. You're still going to have a little mess on your finger. But guaranteed, these are going to be very, very tasty. Give them a try. Enjoy. And, well, game's about to start. So, go Ravens. I know you're allergic to primetime games, but who knows? The Patriots are not having a good year. Maybe it'll be all right anyway. All right? Talk to you soon. Bye!